Years ago, I was going through a rough patch with a friend. Something that happens to all of us from time to time. We'd had a misunderstanding and she'd hurt my feelings. After I explained the matter, she went on defense. At first, she told me what she meant by what she said or did, and that I had taken it completely the wrong way. And then she wrapped it up with, if I really knew her, I would have understood her heart and known that she was a good person who would never have meant it that way. I had just experienced a non-apology apology. Hi, I'm Dr. Kerry Kerr McAvoy, a mental health clinician and a narcissistic abuse survivor, and this is the 18th episode of Toxic Love. If you're interested in learning more about pathological love relationships, please stick around by subscribing to this channel, where each week I'm deconstructing a toxic relationship from start to finish. And let me know that you're enjoying this video by hitting the like button. In this video, I'm going to dissect the 5 most common types of non-apology apologies, or the art of saying, I'm sorry, but not sorry. Let's look at why these seemingly painful excuses are so effective, and if you stick around to the end, how to recognize a real apology when you hear it. I don't think there's a single person alive who hasn't experienced a non-apology apology, and most of us have been guilty of using it at least one of these on occasion or two. So let's dive into addressing why the non-apology apology is such an effective way to deal with conflict. First off, who likes to be called out? There's nothing worse than the humiliation of having your own mistakes or rudeness pointed out. When this happens, most of us experience an intense emotional flooding of shame. But why is that our first emotional reaction? Shame is a self-conscious emotional awareness that emerges in our earliest childhood. Psychologist and theorist Erik Erikson identified it as one of our first major psychological crises. Part of becoming a fully formed person is taking the risk of expressing ourselves. As an infant, this occurs when we take our first steps, say our first words, or demonstrate a new skill. And if you think about it, we're never going to do those things well. We're going to have a lot of errors, and we usually do those things under the watchful eye of our caregivers, which means we're exposed to scrutiny. Usually that goes well with a lot of clapping and smiling and happy faces. But what happens when it doesn't go well? Like when you have an accident and wet your pants. In those moments, our failure floods us with extreme self-consciousness as we cringe in fear. We're experiencing shame. As I mentioned previously in this series of videos, we're a communal species hardwired for belonging. From birth, we're in connection to others, so anything that threatens that social space, including getting their love and acceptance and approval, threatens our sense of self. And this fear of rejection and ridicule causes a surge of self-loathing and internal devaluation. And in that moment, we feel bad, worthless. Hopefully, our loving caregivers know how to step in and reassure us that we're okay, that experience of failure doesn't have to threaten our interpersonal connection. And from this, we learn that we're loved no matter what. But no one escapes fearing being found out as imperfect. All of us, from time to time, will have our sense of value threatened and experience shame. And nothing does this better than conflict. Which brings us back to why we use the non-apology apology, or the I'm sorry, but not sorry, when we've been found out. The non-apology apology is a creative strategy to avoid shame. It skillfully says, I see your hurt feelings, but I'm not in the wrong, by sidestepping ownership for injuring you while attempting to soothe you just enough to make the issue go away. See, if we don't take accountability, then we aren't admitting responsibility, which means then that we aren't at fault. The non-apology apology gives the appearance of care and concern without taking any of the risks. We avoid making ourselves the agent of harm by disowning our connection to the act. And this brings us to the 5 classical types of the non-apology apology. The first is, it wasn't me. That's the outright denial of any connection to the offense. In my childhood home, we used to joke that whenever a dish was left out or something was found broken, that Mr. Nobody must have done it. It absolved us from the offense by leaving no one to be associated with the blame. I didn't do it. Mr. Nobody did it. Here's a classical example of Bill Clinton using the same strategy in regards to Monica Lewinsky.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
By using this strategy, by denial, he shifts the issue from what he did to the fact that now we have to prove that he really did it. Non-apology apology number 2. I'm sorry if you have hurt feelings, or I'm sorry if it affected you or influenced you or impacted you. This is a conditional apology that's based on whether you have a reaction rather than on the one who did the action. The person is saying,
I don't regret my behavior unless it negatively impacts you and keeps me from getting what I want out of you or out of this relationship.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kathy Griffin. I sincerely apologize.
What a year it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I take the apology back.
Kathy Griffin isn't sorry over what she did if she thinks no one's still upset over it. She only said what she had to say when she first was found out because she had to smooth things over. The non-apology apology type number 3. I'm sorry that you had that reaction or you had those feelings or that it hurt you. In this kind of apology, it shifts the responsibility from the one who's done the harm to the emotional reaction of the one who's been harmed.
Look, I don't do apologies. But if it means so much to you, then sorry.
Logan Roy is only apologizing to his kids to get them back on board with the deal he's concocting. He's not sorry for doing something wrong, and he's certainly not accepting blame. But rather, he makes it about his kids for having a reaction to what he's done. The non-apology apology type number 4. You misunderstood. If you knew more of what happened, then it wouldn't be that bad. In this apology, there's no expression of regret or remorse, but rather an explanation or a justification for the bad behavior. This non-apology apology takes the focus off the harm by putting the blame or the focus on the reasons why the action was done, as if knowing more about why it happened would make it less hurtful.
I recently said F teachers on a podcast, and it's not how I feel. I was fired up because we were talking about how sending your kid to school here in America is so horrific. And what all of us have to go through, but especially teachers, is not normal and not okay.
Meghan Trainor justifies her crappy comment about teachers by sharing she was upset, as if that reason makes it okay for why she did what she did and makes it less harmful. The non-apology apology type number 5. I'm sorry if you're sorry too. This apology levels the playing field by pointing out the other person's errors and flaws. It shares the blame by saying,
You're not perfect too.
Again, missing the whole point of the apology.
I'm an idiot, and I trusted a 20-year-old idiot who illusioned to me that it would be the best TanaCon in the world. I was under the impression by the company that put on the event, Good Times and Michael, that people would be shuffling in and out.
Tana Mojo isn't to blame for what happened at that event because it was also the fault of her organizers, so it wasn't just her. And we see how she avoids responsibility by spreading the blame to everyone around her. We all love to avoid responsibility, but narcissists and other toxic people are masterful at doing this, and it makes sense. If shame's a difficult emotion for most of us to handle, it's devastating to a narcissist. It's their own personal kryptonite. Without the internal strengths to handle shame, they sidestep it by making the issue you. So if you've made it this far in the video, how do you know if someone has truly apologized? A real I'm sorry should include these 3 things. First, admittance of wrongdoing. They should own their mistake by outlining the offense. I'm sorry when I did or said XYZ. Number 2, an acknowledgement of the effect this had on you, including the feelings that it caused you. For example, I can see that it harmed you. You seem really upset, or fill in the blank, whatever emotion this person's experiencing. And number 3, that there's an authentic effort to make the situation right. This may not always be easy to do because lost moments, lost lives, or broken objects are irreplaceable. But you can express deep regret while tolerating the other person's grief, pain, and rage. You should make a concerted effort to make amends, and certainly you should never do whatever it is that you did again. So, which of these non-apology apologies have you experienced? Drop me a comment and let me know. And has this video been helpful in understanding why the non-apology apology is so maddening, yet so common, and why this type of "I'm not sorry" is so popular with narcissists? If so, be sure to like and stick around by subscribing to this channel. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out last week's, when I explain why breadcrumbing is such a popular strategy with narcissists. And you're not going to want to miss next week's, when I count down the narcissist's favorite way of not fighting fair. Hey, big hugs, stay strong and safe.